Out here in the wilderness, people often claim that they rekindle some variation of peace or harmony with nature after enduring the concrete and steel facades of the urbanized world. And while I can empathize with that to an extent, the comfort attained from this notion of reconnection with the natural world is often drowned out by the noise of my thoughts. Without the distractions and chaos of the cityscape, the mind is even more free to wander. And surrounded by these mountains, lakes, and other geological formations that took millions of years to come into being, environments such as these often instill in me an inescapable feeling of an infinitesimal existence on the scales of both space and time. In essence, large swells of what can only be referred to as cosmic alienation. I think this question for meaning is the thought that most often plagues my mind, and sometimes I face it with resolute conviction, and other times my resolve begins to crack. But I agree with Viktor Frankl in that this quest for meaning is one of, if not the chief component of one's identity, that all other facets are built off and expanded upon. I mean, who are you if not your search for meaning in the ways in which your desires are manifested? Do you know what gives your life significance? And are you doing everything you can to imbue your life with that meaning? Are you? And religion, occupation, family, all these things that typically render one's life meaningful are noble pursuits. But for me, they fall short of the mark. I put no stock in religion, mostly in the sense that I find freedom in searching for my own answers to my existence, in lieu of another telling me. But this is a double-edged sword, as it is at the same time liberating and terrifying. I'm essentially hurling myself into the existential void and attempting to create my own solid ground. But over the years, I've slowly formed what I can only think of is the answer for my existence. Perhaps someday I'll look back on this notion with embarrassment and my ignorance. But my solution to this unsolvable equation is the realization of my dream. And this dream lies outside the bounds of family or work and rests solely on my own force of will. It is to this dream that I devote my actions, this fantasy of attaining what I can only regard as an impossible ideal that fuels my motivation to keep on. And sometimes I see myself as a quixotic figure turning windmills into giants in order to impart some importance to my life. But these doubts eventually diminish, and I continue on to realize my goal. But in choosing the ideal as my dream, I understand that I can never truly accomplish it. Reality brings me back to earth to see that ideals only exist in the mind. However, this tragedy has its benefits, as the actual realization of this dream would deprive my life of its own self-given meaning. To me, it is in the constant striving to reach this ideal that renders my life meaningful. The attainment of the goal is impossible, but the attempts to reach it push me closer and closer to it. To paraphrase Oscar Wilde, there are only two tragedies in life. One is never achieving your dream, and the other is achieving it. And I would rather fall victim to the former of those tragedies.